To our February meeting. A call for. Are you right, Ruby? You've got the thing rolling. If you turn your microphones on, please, so you can be heard. And I call for apologies.
Councillor Tiffany Galvin has an apology for the meeting.
Councillor Galvin, would somebody like to move to accept that apology? Councillor Egan, Councillor Young, those in favour say aye. Aye. It's now carried. Would somebody like to move the recommendation that the minutes of this previous meeting be confirmed?
So moved, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Colton, seconded Councillor Dick. Those in favour say aye.
Aye.
It's now carried. There's no presentation today. I will call for declarations of interests, gifts received and conflicts of interest. Being nil at this stage. So the first item today is...
The additional late items.
Yes, that's right. We have additional late items and I ask that somebody move that. They're listed in front of you. Well, you can read them actually if you like.
The following items, namely tender for the supply and delivery of quarry products in the confidential agenda, the joint organisation membership, the additional executive report, councillors' activity statement, and the January 2021 and December 2020 monthly investment and rates collection report, and the quarterly budget review statement.
Would you like to move they be accepted on the agenda as late item? Councillor Young and Councillor Moore. I'll put that motion. Those in favour say aye.
Aye.
No, thank you. And we go on to item 1.
Notice of motion.
Yeah, item 1 is the notice of motion from Councillor Dick that the Council's committee and extraordinary and ordinary meetings commence at 6 p.m. on the days they're held. Would you like to move that way, Councillor Dick? Would you like to speak to it? I'll get a seconder first. A seconder for that. So we're going to second this motion?
I'll second it.
Okay, we've got a seconder. Councillor Young. Now, Councillor Dick.
Mr. Mayor, I've spoken to several business people in the Shire and they are concerned the fact that the committee and council meetings are on during the day. They would feel much more comfortable coming on to council if there was evening meetings, and I think that we could encourage a few more people to come along. I have a self-interest in it as well. I'm finding it difficult to have the 2 days a month away from my business, and I just think it will give a lead into our elections that anyone that wants to put their hand up knows that it'll be an evening meeting and not disturb their business through the day. Thank you.
Thank you. Speaker against? Or speaker?
I might say something, John.
Yeah.
I understand where Stuart's coming from, but, and I don't know what everyone else, I'm working full time still, and by 5 o'clock in the afternoon I'm stuck.
Yeah.
And all I'm worrying about is probably sitting down having a beer and whatnot. The last thing I want to be doing is driving over here, it takes an hour to get over here, have a 3 or 4 hour meeting, going back dodging kangaroos on the way back. I don't want to influence anyone else. I don't want to stand in the way if you want to do that. It would mean I probably wouldn't want to be coming to meetings.
I think that the point being that if the purpose of this is mainly to attract people to stand for council, and I put this in the last edition of the paper, that the current council, on the election, on the first meeting of a new council, they determine when the meeting is, what time of day or what day or whatever. So I don't think it's necessary to have a trial period. And I think it's just up to this council to decide what they want, and then the next council can decide what it wants. Anyway, I'll take further speakers if anyone would like to speak on it.
I'll only speak to support what Jeff has said. I think that at 6 o'clock at night, it's wind down. It's not wind up. I don't think.
I think the other we did consider this years ago when Angela Daring was a councillor. And she said, well, that means I'm going to hit more and more roos going home. That's another point. But Now, I'll take more speakers, if not I'll put the motions.
I'd probably know, I'd want to know before, if I was to stand again next
Yeah.
thing, because I wouldn't stand. That's as simple
Well,
as that for me. But I don't want to, I don't want to be the odd one out.
But Jeff, once again, it'll be a decision of that council.
Yeah.
We can't,
Yeah.
we can't say, this council can't say the next council's going to meet at 6 o'clock. It'll be up to there's points for and against, obviously. The ones for are, is a day meeting keeping people out? I don't know. How it would affect me is that I quite often have to do business with other staff members after the meeting. If we met at 6 o'clock at night, they wouldn't be there. So that would affect me. But anyway,
I was just going to say, well, a night meeting would also put people out. It's 6 to 1, half dozen to the other who would stand. There's just a preference for each who stands, really.
But as I said, it's up to the council at the day.
That's right.
Yeah, what I'm saying, I don't want that to interfere with anyone else's
Yeah.
thing. That's just my feeling.
But I'd have to say, I'd agree with Jeff. I'm doing a bit of casual work at the moment, I'm starting at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning on a tractor and go until 11 o'clock at night. And if I do 3 days of that before a meeting, well, Thursday's not going to be real good, I don't think, no.
All right, well, I think we've had enough debate. This has to be, your vote has to be counted for this particular motion. So I'm going to ask for a show of hands. Those in favour? 1. Those against? And gather it's everybody else. Where the motion lies.
Just a little bit.
Sorry, Stuart.
I don't think you lobbied hard enough, Stuart. Item 2 is the operation of a 999 head feedlot, including construction and associated infrastructure at Springfield, 2513 Gattagetta Road, North Star. Now, most of the council oars, along with Patsy, visited the site, so I think we know what we're talking about here. I'll ask if someone would like to move the recommendation. That's what we usually do.
I'll move.
You like that, Councillor Dick? Thank you.
And the recommendations show that you're adding the new conditions that are outlined in that document that was sent out.
Okay. There's second David Cullen. Stuart Dick moved it.
Oh, okay. And David.
Righto, any comment?
I need to say that if every feedlot presented in the same manner, we'd probably be finding our jobs much easier.
Patsy, would you agree with that? It appeared to me to be state of the art.
Yeah, it is. It is a very good operation.
Yeah.
The only quibble I have with it is that it was already erected before we got to approve it.
I know.
But other than that, yeah, look, he to the not even just to the letter of the recommendations and the guidelines of the Meat and Livestock Association, he's gone above. He really wants to.
Yeah.
I think in the future they will be coming back to this. I think he'll want to expand.
Yeah, fair enough. Yes.
I just want to ask Patsy, is there any main stumbling block? I mean, I haven't read all that. I didn't have time to read, but there's no main.
I put a lot of effort into that.
I'm sorry, I read it over the weekend. But there's no major stumbling blocks.
No, look.
I mean, they're talking about the manure pile and things like that, but I couldn't quite understand.
The manure in the conditions of consent, he just had a few quibbles about the conditions of consent, which we've gone this way and the other with some of them. One was that he didn't want to test the capacity of the holding ponds over time, and because they thought that was an unusual request, but it's to go to making sure that the holding ponds stay at the capacity they need to be at in case there is, God forbid, a giant storm event that's going to overflow. I mean, he's, and contamination does occur. But, yeah, look, he's very low risk. Very low.
Yeah, no,
Those
it's
few,
pretty.
those few comments made by the consultants have been dealt with then?
Yes, I took them into consideration in the amendments of the the second set of
Yep.
draft
Notes,
conditions.
yeah.
I think we all felt it was something that had been done properly. It looked to be very good.
Can I just ask,
Yes, Councillor.
what do you mean, Patsy, when you said we'll be coming back to this?
Oh, I think he'll want to expand in the future.
Okay, that's what you know. Indeed. Thank you.
So,
Is there any other comment, Councillor Moore?
In the planning there, how do we feel about that 82 cents per tonne either way? But he's got a submission there regarding in-kind contribution. Is that, what are we going to look at there?
Well, I'll ask the engineer to answer that. He's been dealing with it.
The offer that they put on the table is generous and certainly meets the monetary value of the Section 94 contribution, but its use to council is questionable.
Yeah.
It would essentially lock in a self-help project on Get a Road every year. It wouldn't be a large one. Those jobs we would typically do maybe on a 6 to 8 year cycle. It's self-serving to a degree. In 6 to 8 years, at the rate we've been going, that road could even be sealed, at which point the offer becomes basically useless. My recommendation would be to stick with the 82 cents.
You couldn't stay with that, say, for 5 years and then after a 5 year period,
I think the point is, Councillor Moore, any money that's collected on that Section 94 goes back into the road anyway.
Yeah.
It has to be spent on a road or a feeder road, and therefore, why change it?
Can I say something?
Yeah.
That 82 cents, that's only on cattle and stuff coming to do with the feedlot, isn't it?
Cattle and grain to do with the feedlot, yes.
Yeah, not his normal grain and stuff coming in. Yeah, right.
well, his normal grain will be reduced, I think, because he'll be using it in the feedlot.
Well, that's
what
right.
he's proposed.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
So is it for cattle going in or out?
For both.
Both ways. It's
He said he's not bringing in any cattle. He's breeding his own cattle.
Well, you can only pay for them in one direction, but if the trucks come back empty,
He does breed cattle on other properties.
he'd be
within
trucking cattle in
Lydia.
from other locations of his
Yeah.
own. And the only way that he'd get them in for nothing is walk them in. But it's to do with the degradation of the road, Councillor Dick. That's what this is for.
Sneak them in after hours with the lights off.
Yeah, you could do that.
They're pretty good advocates for the council, those blokes.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I think that, I know you can't give concessions, but I think it's something that should be.
I just think they did a great job. I mean,
Yeah.
Should be a set precedent the way you set that compared to others, do others as well along the same line.
Take
As it stands.
Patsy's comment, she said, well, the fact that it was probably put there before, but the way I understood when he explained it was that what he was doing, he wasn't feeding that number of cattle anyway, but they were bogging up the yard, so he built something to get away from that.
It was
So that
Yeah,
was,
it
that
sort
was
of-
the way that I read it.
It sort
He
of
wants to enlarge it up to that
evolved
size.
into what it's.
Started off as drought feeding and then
It's sort of
opportunity
evolved.
feeding, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is that what they call it?
opportunity. Anyway, it's been well done, and I got a mover and a seconder of the recommendation.
I think we had a mover.
I've got a seconder. No, I've got them both,
okay.
thanks. And is there any further discussion before I put the motion? Not, I'll put that motion then. Those in favour say aye.
Right.
Yes, no, carried. Now, is that unanimous? We need a count on this. Everybody in favour, please.
Aye.
Councillor Dickey, you've moved it. I presume you're in favour? Yeah, and I'm in favour. That's unanimous. Thank you. Item 3 is the application for a new shed to upgrade dog housing at the Stockhaven dog breeding facility. And the action is that the report be received at this stage. Did you want to say anything, Patsy, on this one?
I mean, it is an upgrade of the facilities they've already got, so it's an extra upgrade. It's, he's assured us in both his statement of environmental effects, and obviously we still inspect every 6 months, that his numbers will not change. We'll go over those thresholds set by the original agreement. The last inspection we did was in January, and the whole facility has substantially improved.
That's good.
And this will be another improvement.
Which is much needed, of course.
Yeah.
We're pleased to see the improvement. I am anyway.
This will give him actually more room to spread out his dogs.
Yeah.
So they won't be as like two in a cage so much, and his whelping mothers will have more room to spread out as well.
Actually, when I read all this, I welcomed the improvement at that facility, but I'm interested to hear what other councillors think, and I'll take comment. Councillor Dick.
Mr Mayor, through to Patsy. Patsy, the pen size, I presume, is in accordance with the RSPCA size of pens?
Yeah, for small dogs, yes.
And Patsy, they're having pens inside the shed.
Yeah, they're the whelping ones, and there'll be like ones on the outside under the awnings.
So my question is, with the internal drain, do you believe there's a door up one end into the vet surgery? Do you believe that the internal drain, with all the manure in that drain, that the shed has enough ventilation with the smell in there?
He hasn't actually addressed the ventilation. I believe there's going to be big doors at both ends. I don't think the vet room's going to be enclosed as such.
Why have they got a door entrance up one end there, if it's not going to be enclosed?
Well, not as enclosed as like to the roof or anything like that. It'll just be...
And the pens outside will have dogs with a corrugated roof over the top with no other protection.
It'll be extended over further, like the pens will be in under it a bit, but no, they won't have a cool room panelling, I believe, in
And
between.
will the whole shed, including the outbuilding there, have cement floors?
Yes.
Patsy,
And-
is there a standard it has to meet? Does the RSPCA set a standard?
Yes, there is.
So it's meeting that standard, then?
Yeah.
The whole thing, like
It says
what
that.
Councillor Dick's talking about, it covers
Yeah.
that.
If they're going with the standard, is there anything we can do though? I mean, I think if they're
We're meeting the standard, yeah.
meeting the standard.
So with the ventilation, you're more worried about the dogs' welfare rather than the fact that...
Well, I think the council has a charter to make sure that when we permit a building that it's suitable for
For use, yeah.
occupancy.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm just concerned that I don't see any windows up on the left-hand side, and there's a door, as I say, into the vet's room there. And the staff that are going to work these internal pens, do they have to walk beside the drainage thing there, the internal drainage?
Yeah, basically it'll wash out of the pens into the drainage and then be directed to the front of the building to a grate where it'll then go into there.
That's the thing. They have to be washed out every day.
Yeah, they're washed out
I don't
every
know
day
where-
and the manure's picked up.
I don't know where the water
Every
comes
day.
from, Patsy.
No. But I'd imagine, well, the idea is to put a tank on this as well.
Yeah,
So,
it'll be a big tank.
Mr Mayor, I do have a problem with the ventilation inside this shed.
can
all
we
those dogs
satisfy
there
that with a condition of consent?
Well, I don't see anything with ventilation. There's no fan, extraction fan or anything like that. In 40-degree heat up there under corrugated iron, all those dogs' manure and wee and everything, I mean, it should be pretty stenchy inside the shed.
We could put a condition in on the draft conditions to say that whirlybirds or that adequate ventilation be provided through whatever means.
I'd certainly be happy with that, Mr Mayor.
All right, we can add that. Well, don't you think that if it meets the standard set by the RSPCA, is the same thing?
No, I don't, Mr Mayor. The RSPCA have done nothing to assist us as a council to have any regulations of these puppy farms.
I certainly agree. I agree with that. They have, but they haven't done a thing. But what I meant was, surely they've got a design standard. I don't know.
I don't think they have,
They've
Mr
got
Mayor.
very little.
There's something here on page.
Yeah, it was referred to, wasn't it?
At New South Wales Department of Industry and Investments, Animal Welfare Code and Practice breeding dogs and cats. Dog pens are designed in accordance with.
That's what I thought was referred too.
So,
That's the pens though, not so much the building.
yeah, but the pens, and then the building would have to have a size that would house those pens, so it has to be of a decent sort of size. I agree with Councillor Dick that maybe ventilation could be a problem, perhaps that
Well, there's no harm in doing what you're doing, Councillor Dick. I think that make that a part of the recommendation.
Yeah.
Well, I think the place to do it is put it in the conditions and
Yes.
and make it a requirement before occupation.
Yeah, well, that'll be part of our recommendation that it become a condition.
Yep.
I support that.
I think, Mr Mayor, it's important that we have the opportunity with this shed to try and bring their level of standard up. If we say nothing, they're just going to build this shed and the dogs inside are going to swelter in 40-degree heat and smell.
And, you know, the alteration that you're proposing is not that difficult to do, is it?
Well, it hasn't been built yet, has it?
I mean, you go to other facilities and a shed like this are in fact air conditioned for the animals. This is not air conditioned. It hasn't got ventilation. It's got one door up one end and a latrine trough through the middle.
Yep.
I don't think it's very state of the art.
Okay.
Patsy, even for the cold conditions, is it the roof lined or is it just corrugated?
There wasn't any lining proposed.
Starting on that puppy farm.
Could that be part of the conditions? Because it's just as cold up there as it is hot.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, can be.
Not lined so much as
Insulated.
Insulated,
Yeah.
that's what I
Insulate.
meant. Some form of insulation for the winter end.
Yeah, which
Well, it
does
works
go.
both ways, yeah. All right, well, there's a couple of new conditions
That's all right.
that are going in the recommendation. Did I have a move?
No, we haven't got a move.
I haven't got a move yet. I need a mover of the recommendation. Please, Councillor.
I'll
Dick.
move the recommendation.
All right, then, Councillor Young.
And with those,
Well, the additional
Those
thing is
conditions,
further that adequate ventilation and
Insulate.
installation be provided within the proposed shed to the satisfaction of council.
yes,
You could have said installation of insulation.
That's right.
insulation.
Okay, is any other comment before we put the motion? Be happy? Put it then, those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Do you have a seconder?
Yeah, wait a minute, we've got one, seconder was Egan and Young. No,
I think it was Mash.
Oh, okay. And it was.
One dissenter.
Yeah, we need a division
Well,
because
it's
it's a planning, so.
all for, one against.
Yep.
Can't be all for, you know what I mean.
Yep.
Who's against?
Councillor Dick was against it.
Thanks, Betsy.
Thank you, Betsy, for that.
against what,
Honest today.
against what, John?
Sorry?
Holding their toes.
Stuart voted against the recommendation.
Aye.
Aye.
Patsy,
Not the executive report.
Yeah, I'm happy to answer any questions anyone might have if I can.
That's good. Oh, no, that's it, John Ward.
Need to find one. Right here.
I've got to find the page now because I was in that other one.
When you find it, will you tell me?
Yeah,
It's on
page
53, no. 73.
73.
Oh,
yeah.
73.
Any questions of the General Manager?
Did Bob Swain come back to you, Max, regarding his few issues he had?
No,
Yeah, right.
I haven't seen one. It may have gone to the planning people, but I haven't seen any correspondence.
That's approved, isn't it?
Yes, but he had some concern about conditions.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
There is one even though I thought I'd put it in there, you may have noticed in the economic development there was meant to be a QR code that you could look at, and I don't think it appeared in the final version.
I haven't seen it.
So,
There's somewhere where there was
There's a QR code on page
somewhere.
84, whether that's it or not.
Where was that?
Somewhere there was a QR code.
84, there's a picture of a QR code.
oh, right, I couldn't find it.
Oh, there is two.
Is that what we're looking at, Max?
Okay, well, if you follow that, we're populating that site.
Of Guida Shire.
Yeah,
Oh, excellent.
yeah, it hasn't.
Yeah,
Printed out or what?
84.
Page 84, down the
yeah,
bottom
right.
with Guida in it.
Did anyone use it? Did it work?
No, you haven't got it on
I
yours.
thought it was just a
It's on that
sample.
page.
I'll do it now, Max.
There we go.
Try it.
The New South Wales Services, is it?
Yeah, it was.
I thought it was another code.
Come the electronic devices.
Yep.
Good. Anyway, it's only new and it'll be expanded. I don't know
Guida
why
Shire
it hasn't appeared
Council.
on the my printout.
There it is,
Yeah.
Guida Shire. Breathtaking surrounds the ideal place to escape
It says
to.
this is not a New South Wales government code.
I can sign up for VIP access.
It's not a New South Wales Services one, but I can do it
There
on
we
another
go.
one.
Sign in.
There you go.
The thing that I had a concern about when we were talking about all this electronic stuff was the reduction of face-to-face inquiries and things. Have we,
How do you mean?
well, if everybody's, like, it read to me a little bit like that we were going to reduce our face-to-face inquiries, but we're not? Because I would like to still see face-to-face happening. I think it's important. People like to interact with people and, you get more of a feel of something if you're
Yeah.
talking to a person.
Now, this is designed to communicate with those people that
Are away.
are more and more communicating through the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
it's
are
just
away before they come here, perhaps,
Yeah,
that sort of
yeah.
thing.
Where will that code
Hopefully.
appear? On the internet? will it?
yeah, it'll appear in the Wanderer, or like we're targeting
Yeah.
the Wanderer magazine
Yeah.
initially, but we'll also be collecting data from. And this isn't personal data in terms of
Yeah.
who owns the phone, but as people come through our shire, there'll be collection points. We'll be able to pick up their the IP address of that phone, and we'll be able to determine where they came from and where they're going to,
Yeah.
and start
We
to.
used it at one of our events, didn't we? The Orange
Yes, we
Festival.
did.
We got a
We
lot
did.
of feedback from the
That's
Orange
right.
Festival.
So we'll be able to
QR code.
target where
Yeah,
people are.
they ping
No,
their
it's
phones.
it's not a
Ping
PR code in this
phones.
case. It's actually pinging their phone.
I don't know what that means.
Either do I. It scares the daylights out of me, but apparently they can do it.
Just, you don't know it's happened.
Yeah.
Ah.
It feeds to the,
If you want to do
Someone's
anything,
watching you.
if you want to do anything bodgy, make sure you take your little card out of your phone and like hide the phone somewhere.
Have to leave it out.
But they can say where the person came from, and then where they go to in a week's time, like anywhere in Australia. So we can really establish a pattern of where our visitors are actually coming from, and then you can start marketing into that through. And you actually, how you're on a website, and 3 weeks ago you purchased a pair of shoes, and all of a sudden an ad comes up. So you got
Yes.
like another pair of shoes.
Yes.
Well, that will actually, if you're within the target area that we've established, it'll pop up and say, have you thought about moving to Bingara?
Oh,
What about making it wider?
Well, Guida, yeah, well, it would be
Guida, yeah.
wider.
Well, it would be Guida because that's the QR code.
It's a QR
But
Guida.
I think that, that's the sort of marketing that we're trying to get into, that more driven by data and driven by the
That's,
processes within the internet that promote different things over other things. I mean, that's,
well, the
Apparently
QR
there's
code.
been an amazing amount of activity on real estate in Whydah because it's over both communities.
Yes, it has.
And there's been a huge amount of activity.
yeah.
The thing about activating that now is, with COVID, everybody has got used to using a QR code and used to looking, doing that, logging in. So using a QR code for information sourcing is probably a good thing to do now.
Well, if the research by the Regional Australia people is accurate, 20% of people that are living in Sydney, Brisbane and Melbourne want to move to regional areas. So,
Yeah.
Oh, well, that was
Very good.
the logic behind doing this in the first place.
yeah.
Any other questions? Or
Well, if people are interested, where's the money coming from to pay for this? That'd be, it's coming mainly from a
I've already asked.
bushfire funded grant with a little bit of extra money from us, but not much.
Max, was it about 40,000 or?
Yeah, 40,000.
Okay.
How many, what's the intensity of the usage of the truck wash, Alex, at the moment? Has it gone up?
Remains about the average of 1.4 a day.
Yeah. Right.
Can I just bring something up on the?
Yes.
Oh,
Oh,
Are we,
to your report.
we might leave it till later.
Okay. Is there anything else from Max in his report before we move on?
I'm gonna move on a second.
Recommendation. Somebody move the
Oh, it's
recommendation.
just reception.
Yeah, just be received, yeah. Can I have a mover, the recommendation, please?
Yeah.
Councillor Nash.
Yeah.
And seconded, Councillor Egan. Those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against no, carried. And we're on to item 5, which is Leah, monthly organisation.
This is a very long and comprehensive report because I missed the deadline for the November report to you, so I'm just happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Okay, any questions?
Just looks like everybody's very busy to me. All those hours and all those people
Heaps
that
of
do
hours.
volunteer hours. Yeah.
There is no rerunning about line ball, money-wise?
Tracking as expected with the budget.
Yeah, okay.
We've just finished, just about to acquit the kitchen grant that provided us the opportunity, because there was savings with the kitchen development, to actually paint the dining room, recarpet put new flooring on the dining room and up into the hallway. So that worked out extremely well for Nauru, that we could make that dollar go further.
It'd be good if we could we should organise a little tour.
We'll do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
That's the-
wouldn't put carpet down, you put
No,
that
sorry,
vinyl. Yeah.
it was vinyl, yes, the commercial vinyl.
Whatever it is. Yeah.
And the committee donated the new seating, and it's quite a picture up there at the moment.
So that committee that are more or less catering committee, isn't it? Are they making a pretty sound contribution now, I would imagine?
Yes, they do. It's the first go-to that the first place Sharon goes to when she needs bits and pieces, and they've donated some spectacular artwork, and those chairs have made a huge difference. They're just very active and very focused on improving the place.
It's good, isn't it, that, the different attitude now compared to days gone by.
Yes.
It's so good to see.
Yep. Every bit an advisory fundraising group, certainly not a management group, but they also volunteer, and they're in the facility very often, just helping out.
I expect Ted was.
Pleasure to work with.
Yeah. Yes, Kathleen.
Sorry. Under tourism, I actually didn't make Australia Day awards, but I did hear that Jenny Mead was excellent as the MC, and there's a note of her in this report. I'm wondering if Jenny was commended for that work.
She was.
Yeah, oh, good. Thank you.
I also received a lot of comments about her performance, and I passed it on to her.
It was very,
Did an
very good.
excellent job. Yeah, I heard that.
Excellent it was.
It's really good.
Great. I particularly enjoyed seeing the group photos of the Tharawonga children in this report. It was nice to see. I don't think we've ever seen them together as an end of year thing. Just the little faces there looking at you.
I think anyone reading this report would be hard pressed not to see Quieter as a very resilient, day bright sort of community. Like the things are happening. It's not a dead place at all.
No.
It would be wonderful to this report to Willoughby. I mean, they're always fascinated in what we have to do as a rural shire.
Often contractors that come to us as well, as you know, we start talking about what we do, what services we deliver, and it's quite shocking to local government contractors that come to deliver us training, etc., as to how diverse and even the geographical distance that we have to cover.
And while we wouldn't have it any other way, it does play heavily on our finances, doesn't it? Yeah.
It does, but it's what keeps us alive.
And it's what we are here for, I believe. Yeah.
To support our community.
Services like Tharawonga, you know, that might only service 4 children at Yallaroy, I think it's Yallaroy, only has 4 children, are making such a huge difference in the start of those children's lives, you know, that's rewarding. And it's well funded at the moment, which also is a great thing.
The thing is, Leo, when you go to a place like Yallaroy with only 4 children, that's probably where it's most important. They've got a lot less chance of socialising than somebody that lives in a town.
It also provides socialisation for the parents.
The parents, yes.
Or the mum.
Yes, it's more than,
And having those services at our public halls has brought benefit as well, being able to have that funding to improve those facilities. Yallaroy Hall's a picture at the moment. I was out there just before Christmas and I was quite struck how impressive it is. You know, it's tidy, and before it was a hall in the sticks.
Put pride back into those little communities. It's the heart of their little community.
And to see them decorated in the children's artwork, North Star Halls, you know, it's not the prettiest building, but you go inside and the artwork around the books that they've been reading that week on the walls it's lovely.
it's good.
Makes it all worth it.
Probably the only use the hall has, is it? North Star.
I don't know what else uses it, and who else
Schools
uses it.
can
Also.
use it.
School did use it, I don't know if they still do.
Certainly had some visitor inquiries, haven't
Not here, Catherine.
Yeah.
it? The numbers are good.
Pool's been well used.
A mover or second.
Any questions, or I do need a mover and a seconder of the
I'll
recommendation.
move the report, and I just want to make a comment.
Seconder, Councillor Smith.
I have been using the Bingra pool and it's just lovely, so.
Do you go down that ramp, do you? Or?
No, I don't go down that ramp, I dive head in.
Good on you, Councillor. Is there any questions of Leah? It is a comprehensive report and very interesting read.
Yep, very good.
If there's not, I'll move the motion. Sorry. Yeah, we'll vote on that motion, the recommendation. Those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Against, no, carried. Next item is
Reduction of council.
reduction of the number of councillors. Okay.
You've got 2 options.
Yeah, very good. All right, well, do you want to speak on this, Max?
Well, at the December council meeting, the mayor put forward the possibility of having a constitutional referendum, if required, at the next local government elections to reduce the number of councillors. I contacted the Electoral Commission and we still have time to do it. We would have to make a decision like this month because there are processes that need to be followed. The report outlines a couple of the constitutional referendums that went to the last local government election, which is quite interesting because one was to reduce and one was to increase, and they both lost, which shows the community's natural reluctance to vote no if the government want to do anything.
Reluctant to vote yes.
Reluctant to vote yes, sorry, but to actually vote no. And I think in a democratic process, if the council want to be considered, why not put it out there to the community? They can exercise their right to either vote for it or against it. It doesn't come in, obviously, in the next election. It would come in 4 years after or 3 years after the next election because of the lost year. They're keeping to the cycle, and it's up to the council to decide what to do, whether you want to reduce it or not, or ask the community if they would like to have a reduction.
We'll take comment, yes.
Could I Oh, and
Councillor
could I ask,
Speak
are
up,
there,
Catherine.
could I ask, are there savings to be made by doing it? What,
There would be savings in that you're not paying to councillors' fees and the other associated savings of not less trainings required, because we have to actually have
Training budget.
an individual training plan for the new councillors that come in, and obviously, you know, that's money that you can save. It's not much money though. I wouldn't
No,
do it
but that's,
just for the saving.
no, that's what I was trying
I'd
to
do
get
it
to.
because we often have trouble filling all the positions when we have an election.
Well, my concern with this, and I know I was the one that suggested it, and I was going to add to this motion that we go back to wards, because my concern is that the outlying regions won't be represented on council. And then when you consider that, it doesn't necessarily work either, because you don't have to, unless you make it that you have to live in the ward, and Max was saying if we had wards we'd only have 2, which wouldn't solve the problem. Upper Horton's underrepresented, North Star's underrepresented on this council, and I don't know how we overcome that. If you do make, say, 4 wards and include those outlying areas as a ward, then you don't have to live in the ward unless you make that rule that you do. Because I can remember in the past where there was one particular councillor that never ever was stood an election really. He nominated in a ward that only had 1 nomination and got on, and that's a worry to me. So I'm not sure how we go about this. Anyway, I'll take councillor.
I was just wondering, do you think there's a problem? And do you think that Upper Horton and North Star are not represented?
I meant directly. They're represented, of course they are.
But I mean...
But they don't have anybody living in that area on council.
Yeah, but even if you had a ward, you wouldn't have to live in the area. And
No, that's...
So, you know...
Unless you state
I don't.
that.
Yeah.
I've cancelled my own.
Yeah.
Argument.
See,
Councillor Smith.
I just think, and Max sort of laughed at me when I said it, I thought if you reduce it to 7, you're just putting... And when I looked at the list of committees that we're on, some of those committees have to go on to 7 people, between 7 people, not 9. And I think that as councillors, I think we represent our community pretty well. And even if we're not living in that community, I think we're pretty equal across the board. And I actually wouldn't vote for it. I'd vote it.
That's
as
fair
no.
enough.
That's
Councillor
my
Smith?
opinion.
Yeah, I'm pretty well going to back
Yeah.
up what Francis was saying there just on that. The other thing is I think we've got to be careful, I could be completely wrong, but by bringing it from 9 back to 7, are we diminishing ourselves in the light of the government or anyone else that we're down, we're sort of scaling down for some reason or other?
Down, yeah.
And I think, we've got to keep ourselves, promoting ourselves as a council, and I think by bringing and I think with wards, like I'm saying, I think generally we probably should be, I try and look after Cropper Creek as much as I can and Coolatai, don't get out the North Star quite as much. And I think that's all, and maybe, Upper Horton, maybe it should be pushed a bit more somehow, but...
I think,
I try to communicate a lot with Upper Horton, and I've spent every time we've gone out to a meeting, I've approached everyone I can think of to stand and represent that area, because I think they need representation.
I get a very regular phone call from the Mayor of Upper Horton, and I believe it is represented, and I think we look after it, and and I'm always aware of this. He'll let me know if there's a problem.
If there's a problem, he'll get on to us.
And it's been difficult when we haven't been able to have public meetings. We haven't been out
Yes.
there.
But some people say to me, they feel that being outside the council, they're able to contribute more and say more than they would if they were inside the council. I don't know. I don't feel that.
It's an interesting observation.
I don't feel that. I just say what I believe. But I just think that we need the number of councillors that we have, whether it's us or another 9 people, because you say you don't get to North Star sometimes, but you might go up there because there's an event
North
there.
Star, it is like we get out there a bit,
Yeah.
and we're fairly well. They're happy with us out there.
Yeah.
Whenever I talk to anyone out that way,
And they do communicate. I get calls from people at North Star
Yeah,
too.
that's because,
And North Star have been one of the most positive
Yes.
sections of our
That's been-
council since we started all our public meetings and everything. They've gone out of their way to thank us for representing them. I think they've had.
Can we go back to public meetings now?
Must be close to it, aren't we?
Surely soon.
Yeah, we probably could.
Yeah,
But we
not
still have
in the
to
bar, yeah,
observe.
Well, we never get any
social
more than 100
distancing and all that
people.
sort of
No, and you can have 100 people. That's right, Matt.
Yeah, I think if you try and observe the rules a bit, we could.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's slackening off again, isn't it, next week or something?
Yeah, there's supposed to be something happening.
You could possibly have 3 wards. Like, you'd have to do an investigation, but you could have Mingra, Warrialda and the rest. You could have 3 in each ward.
But you can't sort of make it obligatory to live in the ward.
No, you
So
can't.
that's defeats its
It
purpose.
defeats
really.
its purpose.
Yeah, yeah. No, I got cold feet on this too after, reading
After you
it.
thought about it.
I'm sort of quite happy to leave it alone, and I think that it'd probably be voted down anyway. I mean, if it went to a referendum.
Oh, okay.
Just a minute.
Councillor Moore.
Other thing that concerns me, if you go back to 7, you look at the activities of councillors,
Yes, yeah.
Well, that's
who's going to take on that extra burden?
Yeah, that's what Francis
Yes,
said.
yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't everybody is Kirby?
So,
I move option 1. I'm happy to move for option 1.
okay, right, I'll take that. Councillor Young moved.
I'll second it.
Seconded. Councillor Egan, is there any other comment? Everybody satisfied?
Yes, I've got a comment.
Yes.
I should clarify, when Councillor Young and I were talking, I said that what I indicated was that quite often, in every council I've worked in, there are the councillors that do the work, and there are some councillors that don't do anything. And that's always been, or they do less. They don't do nothing, they just do less. And it's a time thing, more people have got, retired people have got more time to put into it than other people, that's the way it works.
I beg to differ about that comment, Mr. I think retired people have got less time.
Well, you still
I'm
put a
not
bit of time in
retired.
though, don't you?
Doing much more
I'm
than
not
others,
retired, not allowed to.
Okay, well, I'll put the motion, which is option 1. Those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against, no carry. Very good. Item 7 is the Alga National General
Yeah, this
Assembly.
is good.
With the financial assistance grants thing,
Yeah.
I checked with Mark that he was happy with that wording because, as you know, he's the minister and he is trying to change the formula for the funding of FAGS grants to favour smaller rural councils rather than city councils. And he was hoping, he said, it's got to be an act of parliament. He's going to have a great deal of difficulty getting it through. And I think there's 5 or 7 federal seats in Brisbane City Council, and they're going to all vote against it. He thought if he could get a positive vibe from Alga, it would help the cause. So that's the purpose of this. I know that there's going to be a motion, I haven't seen it yet, at Country Mayors, same vein. I believe the New England JO will submit one.
Yep.
And they'll all be amalgamated into one. It probably won't read like this, but it's just we'd be silly not to want to change the FAGS formula.
Yeah.
It would mean more finance to a rural council. So that's why that's there.
Move the recommendation.
Thank you, Councillor Egan. Seconded, Councillor Colton.
Yep.
Any question? Put the motion. Those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against, no, carried. Thank you. Item 8, are we up to? In Grove Shop.
Yep.
Well, I went in there the other day. Can I speak to it?
You can.
Yes.
Went in there the other day and I have to absolutely commend them. It doesn't look like an op shop. It looks like somewhere you'd like to shop.
Yeah.
They've done a wonderful job.
They sure have.
Would you like to move the recommendation?
I'd like to move the recommendation and that we
Second, Renee?
show them.
Yeah.
We're going to go Councillor Young. Anyone have any comment on this? Before
No,
we
just
put it?
And the funds they raise will stay within the community to support local charities, which is nice to see that it's not going out of the community. I
You
think
speak this way, because
I've
Or
got this
speak up.
thing on.
Speak up.
I don't seem to amplify
I
that.
don't
Still,
seem
I'll tell you.
to-
Hey, Joey, speak up.
I've upset you now.
We'll have to go to a morning tea. She's running out of energy, I think.
I just said that the money that's raised will stay within our community, and I think that's a nice thing to see because so much of our charity work goes out of town. So I have to commend the ladies. It was beautifully done.
They've done so much work there.
Yep.
The backyard was a
I know,
disgrace.
it's looking
I
great.
think with all of these things, we hope it continues because
Yeah.
sometimes they run out of puff, don't they?
The plants in the back of it are from the living classroom, and they are really
Yeah.
good quality plants if anybody's interested in buying anything.
All right. Everybody happy with that? I'll put the motion. Those in favour say aye.
Aye.
It's now carried. Item 8 is the Internal Audit Committee meeting minutes. Is anything coming out of that people want to discuss?
Well, that was
The minutes are attached.
Yeah.
So they were under separate cover because they're so long.
Yeah.
Just an observer
Yeah.
at that meeting, I have to congratulate Justin on his presentation.
Yes.
He did a very good presentation, so
So in case you're not up to speed with that, the auditor was concerned with our security and our network, our electronic network, and Justin's addressing that. He addressed the meeting with Jack O'Hara, who's the chair of the committee, and he even had some humour, which
he did.
Yeah.
He did a very good job of
he was very good actually.
at a base level where even dummies could understand.
Yes, that's right.
So the auditor noted that is it the cyber security, is that what they call it?
Yeah.
Is that why we're updating our
That's
security? Yeah, because it was noted in another audit that I am involved in. I just have to wonder if that's the audit pick on this year.
Yeah.
Well,
It might have been last year, but this time it's going to be on cash, I think, after the Central Coast Council debacle.
Yeah.
I think that's what you said, Helen, wasn't it?
Yeah.
IT general control will be on the list forever
because
everything's going cloud-based.
Well, government's just had a breakdown in its cyber security, so
I'm happy to move the report.
Oh, thank you. Councillor Young, seconded? Oh, Councillor Egan? I've been lapsed for a minute.
Could I just ask a question before we leave that?
Refund?
Yes, could I be invited to sit in and listen to the next one? I'd like to just hear.
I can't see any problem with it, Councillor Young. I don't know that you need to be invited. We're open. You come and sit in.
You
if
don't
want.
get notice, unless you're on the thing, you don't get notice, so you don't know it's on. Yeah, I'd just like to sit in.
No? Well,
Thank you.
We'll make sure everybody's notified.
I'll send notice everyone.
Yeah. So to move on in a second, are there any other questions on the audit committee report, minutes? If not, I'll put the motion. Those in favour say aye. Aye. Carried. Is that the next one? That's Northwest, yes.
Yeah, it's just a...
And
There's nothing really to discuss
it's
there.
just the Arts Northwest
report.
project
Yeah.
report for.
You like to move that, Councillor?
Yes, I would.
Thank you. Second one, David Carlton. Any
And
questions?
I got an extra couple of pages here, the Bingara Orange Festival is attached to my minutes. I'm sure that's not meant to be there, is it?
Oh.
I was trying to read it thinking, how have I got that?
It's not on mine, is it?
Everyone was being streamed this week.
Councillor
How
Moore?
much do we pay
On
to it?
the Northwest Arts, right at the back page there,
Yeah.
152, contribution of $4,436. Total received 27,000, return on investment 510%. Can someone explain why,
500%, is that?
what that's about?
Well, it's what they put in here with regard to sponsoring events or providing training and that sort of thing. And most of those events are paid for through grants that they achieve. Yeah, and we pay a levy. I'm not sure what the levy is, Max. It's it's amount per population.
Oh,
I don't know what it is. Like the MDA, we pay per person, per population, the same thing. Yeah, to be part of it. And Caroline Downer, who is the CEO for this, is being very helpful with the gallery at the moment. And I would presume that help would also go to Warialda. And it's fine.
All right, so it's just a matter of receiving that report.
Yep.
Do I have a mover and a second on that?
Yes, you do.
I did. I'll put that motion, those in favour say aye.
Aye.
So carried, thank you. And we go down to the late items, which is joint organisation membership.
Yep.
This was a bit of a smack in the face for us, I thought, when the Minister
Yes.
recommended that we stay in Namoi until the council elections in September. We're a full member of New England, or a full member of both. But you can't be that, so we're still an associate member of New England to a meeting on Monday, but weren't allowed to vote. If I had my way, I would ignore the order and
Could we
What's the status
write
of
an
that?
email just saying a big why?
Yeah.
But why? Why is she?
New England are going to write on our behalf.
Good.
The JO
There's
at
a-
Nemoy?
Well, no,
Oh, it didn't.
Nemo gave us leave to,
To do it, but they
they
didn't.
haven't. I don't know if they spoke to the
It
minister. or not.
endorses.
Endorse the move, yeah.
know that's-
Do we have to follow the recommendation?
Don't believe we do.
No, she's asked us to reconsider,
Yes.
or consider postponing.
The letter, is the letter here, is it? I read
Yes.
it. Anyway, it was a soft letter, I
Yeah.
thought, but it was disappointing.
So why
Mr
would,
Mayor,
why would?
I think we should stick with where the decision we made earlier was to leave Namoi and go to New England, and I think that's where we should be doing.
I don't think New England are going to accept us until the minister does, do you?
Yeah.
But the indication.
Oh, well, they just can't.
No,
Until we're gazetted, they
no,
can't.
that's the problem.
What
Well-
difference does it make to,
The minister.
I've no idea.
That's what I'm saying. Shouldn't we write
Yeah.
back and say why? What is there some reason why we can't do it now?
Yeah, I'd hope the meeting would go that way, because I think that's the next move.
Just write back and ask what the impediment is to us joining because pretty obvious from that map that,
But we've made it very clear why we're
Yes.
leaving.
yeah.
And,
I'd support Jeff in that, yeah.
but it's also, fine, if she wanted us to remain a member of Namoi, which
Yeah.
is about $32,000, and an associate of New England.
Yeah.
It's just extra money, isn't it? But the full membership of New England is 12, isn't it?
Yeah.
12,000, I think.
Yeah, so that's a huge
Mm.
difference. I think we have much more benefit coming by being part of the New England. I heard the chair talking about on the ABC the other day as the New England JO, and he spoke that we were part of it. He said, and wider.
Oh, Michael Pearce, yeah.
Yeah. So,
Right, well,
Can
you
I-
got some wording, yeah.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
that the minister be advised that the council stands by its previous decision, that its best interest is served by becoming a full member of the New England Joint Organisation.
yeah, absolutely.
And can you add that you see very little value in waiting until September?
Yeah, okay.
So I need a mover
Move
of that. Councillor Egan and
Jeff,
Councillor
yeah.
Colton.
Yeah.
Anybody got anything against that action? If not, all right, I'll put the motion in. Those in favour say aye.
Aye.
It's now carried, thank you. Item 12 is an additional executive report, which was an omission apparently. So it'll be questions to the General Manager if you have any.
Yeah, they were just late items that were sent to me
Right.
that I bundled up and wanted to get rid of.
Yeah.
We still have, oh, sorry.
Yes,
We
Councillor.
still have positions that weren't filled in the school-based trainee roles. We've got the school-based trainee journalist and the water and sewerage operator that were
That's
there
right.
nil applicants, yeah.
The water and sewer operator ones are a little bit hard to understand because that would quite often lead to full-time employment
Yeah.
for a student who left school. Yeah. Although it's probably not high on their list of jobs that they would
When
be
you say,
considering.
can't you just say water?
Yeah.
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 Are they
Give it a
going
better
to be
title and I'm sure it'd have better.
Actually, the
Yeah.
qualification they do is plumbing.
There's plumbing, yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
Might be a bit of
Are they-
evidence.
So if it was
can
advertised
we
in that sort of
advertise that?
area, it'd be,
That's right, that's right.
Only work experience, isn't it, like school work experience?
Some
It's-
are
We're not-
yeah,
we're not
they do a
employing them.
certificate 2 course in,
But we're not paying, like, we're not employing them?
no, well, they get paid a trainee wage for the hours they work,
Yeah.
but, yeah.
Do we re-advertise or continue to promote that we still have those
Yeah, we
vacancies?
always stay in contact
Yeah.
with these careers advisory staff at both the high schools.
I was just wondering if they fell off the perch after a certain time, because we have to apply to those, for those positions, don't we, somewhere? Or have we just allocated that number of
No,
positions
no,
from school?
we decide what positions we have available and then
Okay.
we go out there and
Yep.
try to seek
Well, that's very good.
trainees.
Actually, the rugby 7 squad, you're
Yeah.
planning on a barbecue or something to meet with them?
Yes, we are on the Thursday, that schedule that's in
11th.
here has been slightly modified after discussion with them, but
2 weeks
from
today, isn't
on Thursday, the 11th of March, you'll all be receiving an invitation
Evening or-
to have a dinner with them out at the living classroom. There were 26, there are now 24 because 2 of the players have had injuries. One's had a shoulder reconstruction, the other one's something to their knee, which is quite sad for them because I missed the Olympics.
Getting ready, yeah.
But I can tell you that the squad are really keen to come out here, and they're especially keen because one of their number in the development squad actually lives at Pally, and
Oh,
on the
excellent.
Wednesday afternoon they'll be going to Warrialta High School, and then they'll be going and having a barbecue out with the girls' family out of
Oh,
Pally.
wonderful.
Yeah.
is that the buyers girl?
Byers.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's it. Oh, I wondered. Yeah.
She's in the development squad. She's not actually in the squad, but they have younger
Yeah.
players that they
And she's done a lot.
bring up. Yeah.
Good athlete.
Max, just while we're on that, I will be an apology for that. We're actually going away on I think it's the 9th, so I'm going to miss all of that, which I'm very sad about.
Okay.
I'd need somebody move the recommendation.
I'll move the report.
Very
Councillor
good.
Colton, thank you. Councillor Smith seconded. Put the motion, those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Item 13 is just a council activity statement. The only thing I can see wrong with is my name wasn't it?
You missed out, you're just,
Too
you're
much
just a
going on.
blank.
What I did's there, but not my name.
Yeah.
Pretty busy period, isn't it?
Somebody move the recommendation of that, please.
Yeah.
Are you
Councillor
living,
Egan, Councillor Young.
you're living up to your
Anonymous, yeah.
yeah. Well, no, actually,
the Phantom.
the Phantom. Yeah.
Put the motion, those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Okay, item 14, that the
Just to say, we were very busy in those
Yeah,
periods.
yeah, actually, congratulations to everybody. It's a really comprehensive list of activities there. So our team's working at Guida, certainly are. The item 14 is the January 21 and December 20 monthly investment rates collection report. Thanks, Helen.
So it's both for December and January. I can take any questions.
Yeah, I just chucked them all together.
Rates collection is still up there.
Nice bit of money invested.
Yeah.
Lots of interest.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It would be good.
So December, we did have extra cash come in, which was a grant funded money, and then it dropped back off.
But, any questions of Helen? If not, can I have a mover? Recommendation.
Have you got anyone?
Nobody
I
did.
haven't got a mover, no.
I'll move.
Wait a minute, we're waiting.
Councillor Smith, Councillor Moore.
Oh, good.
Put the motion, those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Motion okay, thank you. Item 15. Pardon me, quarterly budget review statement. Helen, again.
So it's a bit the same. There's nothing too exciting in there because we had the extra month to prepare our budgets this year. They're pretty much on track.
Yeah.
Everyone's working on their grant funded projects mostly, so there wasn't a lot of changes that happened other than those managers that could see where things weren't tracking, they've put the adjustments through. An interesting one was the stormwater. It actually got coded as a positive figure instead of a negative figure, so that had a benefit to the budget.
Yep.
It should have been in as an income line instead of an expenditure line. The camping fees, what was originally budgeted for camping fees had almost been reached by December, so we've increased
That's good.
the money we expect to receive from camping.
Any questions? Yes, Councillor Egan.
Yes, could I ask who's going to do Tracy's job? I want them to be very.
Oh, the race collection.
Yes,
Debt recovery.
The blue
So-
cattle,
and recovery.
putting on a blue cattle dog, I think.
Oh, good. Just so long as it's got as
About what
many
you
teeth
need.
as Tracy.
We've got the process in place now, even though Tracy's not with us anymore. She has got the manual and the processes in place that I have no doubt that the next person will be able to continue the
Process.
good run we've had. We have everyone, she's got everyone in the Shire trained very well, so I think that will continue.
She was certainly very good.
There's no consultant's report attached.
No, it didn't, yeah, I thought I did one, but we didn't have, it wasn't changed from the last quarter.
Right.
So we hadn't paid any more for consultants in that quarter.
So it says it's there and it's not, because it says page 6. Consultants.
I would have done the report because it'd have the same figures as last time. I'll send it through as an additional.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
No, a mover of the recommendation, please.
Yes, I'll move that.
Councillor Young, Councillor Smith. Any questions? Put the motion, those in favour say aye.
Aye.
It's no carried. And the final one,
Well, that's it.
that is the final one.
But do you want to do?
I was just going to say that we might do council reports before we go in. We'll have morning tea after this, then go into a confidential session. But we'll go council reports and I'll start with Councillor Smith.
No, the only other one I have, and I keep bringing it up, the Warrella swimming pool. We don't need more about trying to get something written on, or
The
some sort of
mural?
mural or something.
Carmen and I were speaking about it this week and we've definitely progressed. She's got a budget still for it.
Yep.
We're going to put out on social media to get public, well, to let people know that people that are artists can put in submissions and then we'll let the public pick what they want.
Yeah.
Well, council as well, but
That'd be good.
it's happening.
Then, yeah, just the pool's really, it's humming at the moment there.
Yeah.
A lot of, you know, and the school kids have got, they won the Inverell Carnival there the other day, that the school got the best thing, and they're training every afternoon, and it's
that every
being
day,
used
is
a
it?
lot.
So on there yesterday, they train every day, do they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got the memorial, the sign ready to go up as well,
good,
that was
yeah.
removed with the
Yep.
change
Oh,
to
that's
the
about all
awnings.
I've got, John.
Thank you, Councillor Moore.
No, nothing really. I just, Max, have we heard anything back from the fire people regarding the clean up on the northern side of Warriella and that yet?
Yes, we've had follow-up meetings with the RFS and I think it was quite productive and we're moving forward on identifying. Alex might be able
We've actually pretty well had it covered. Things looking quite encouraging on that front. Then during the meeting we identified all of the crown lots that we would like cleared as part of the fire break. There's been a precedent set to do that clearing only for black pine, which is all we want to get rid of anyway. Those maps have since gone to Shelley Smythe. She stopped short of guaranteeing it was going to happen, but was quite confident that RFS would find the money to pay for it as well.
That's
That'd be good because the black pine, if you got rid of the black pine, it'd be the big.
Yeah.
And some of them wouldn't know if there's a bit of other stuff in there too.
Bit of a mix-up.
I think that's right. Sometimes hard to
That's
identify.
about all. Oh, I think, Alex, thanks for fixing the pothole up on the Mosquito Creek Road. One of the ramps there, bloody, she was pretty bad.
I think that meeting,
That's it.
the meeting with Shelley, the precedent's been made at Gilgai,
Oh, right.
And is it 90 or 100 metres we can go?
90.
90 metres, we're taking the black pine out. And that's a hell of an improvement.
That's good.
Yeah. Oh, well, she's predicting that's what'll happen. We haven't got it yet.
That's a good
And
start.
on the back of that, we've also identified all of the council road reserves that are within that area that can be cleared in addition to the fire break widths that we're talking about purely for fire breaks. So we'll get an extra 20 metres. So we might be around the 120 mark.
And the fire trials too, but nobody could tell us the width of the fire trial.
No.
Yeah. Anyway, Councillor Dick?
No, nothing.
Nothing for you. Councillor Dixon?
Yes, when are the upgrades of Warrialda and Bingra footpaths starting?
It's unlikely it will be this financial year.
Bloody told me last year it was going to start this year.
Did I? Second time in as many meetings.
An engineer needs to have a good memory, doesn't he?
The reason for that is that we lost our two leading hands in Warrialda and Bingra that lead the crews for all of our urban maintenance works. We have just appointed a new leading hand to Warrialda and we're in the process of appointing a leading hand for Bingra. So it was a retirement in Bingra of John Bendai and the movement of another staff member in Warrialda, but we simply haven't had the staff.
So July.
July, you're pinning me down, and I'm going to. This is going into my diary, and all my staff will know we've got a commitment to
Okay.
Councillor Dixon for
Very
July.
good.
We have. There's been paver relaying at both ends of the Shire. We've been chipping away at that and footpath grinding where we can, but we've just got a hell of a lot of work and a finite number of staff. But I'll commit to July.
Okay. Thank you. That's it.
She's got a good memory, Alex.
It's going in the diary.
Did you want to say something?
I was just going to say that, is that part of the disability access
Could
Yes.
Because Carl is still working on a plan for that, and there could be, some work done this financial year. I'm not sure where, but with the levelling off with that machine and stuff like that.
Yeah, we have done some of that already. There was a bit that we did in Hope Street in Warrialda, and we've pulled pavers and relayed them.
Yeah, well, I know in Cunningham Street down this end's really bad.
Yeah.
Really bad.
Councillor Young, you have.
Well, I attended BROC and MDA and
Thank you for doing that.
LEMC and because he can go and chaired it and all sorts of things. But I did write a report from BROC and you want it or do you want me to read it? They're only 1 page and a half a page.
You're represented, I'm happy to hear it.
Yeah, okay. So the BROC meeting was on the 12th February in Inverell and I stood in for the Mayor because he was away. Guest speakers were Bindaree Beef CEO, Andrew McDonald, and again, he's always full of information. And I'm just going to read this really quickly. They supply Aldi with 51% of their beef and Coles Queensland with 20% of their beef. And they have now established a retail outlet in Burleigh Heads. Just some interesting things. Cattle are now 120 kilos heavier on average carcass weight, 350 kilos up from 220. The Myola feedlot will be increasing from 20,000 head to 30,000 head. Bindaree have taken on killing for other abattoirs that have closed, the Coles customers, because of that thing with China, and because they can still export to China. They have a capacity to kill 100,000 and they need a capacity to kill 180,000 when the drought was on and because of the East Coast kill now. And Bindaree have 60 to 70 million capex planned for the next two or 3 years. And they are targeting supplying 50% of their own cattle into that complex. In China, Bindaree has 20 people working in China and they're launching a vending machine delivery thing for meat. China are 20 million tonnes of protein short and they have 600 million cattle, well they had 600 million cattle in 2000. They have 120 million in 2020, of which 2 million are on feed. So he was of no doubt that China is still going to be a big market for us. Emma Bradbury was CEO of the MDA. She was the second speaker. Future Drought Fund Resilience Research and Adoption Program, Drought Resilience Adoption and Innovation Hubs. This was the project that we were going to chase up for on behalf of BROC. Well, Emma chased that up on behalf of BROC, and what she said was there were major applications mainly from universities, and the MDA has partnered with 4 applications across the MDA footprint. So if there was any benefit for us, we would be included in that footprint if it's included of our area.
Yep.
Terry Dodds from Tenterfield has moved on from Tenterfield, and he was a member of BROC. And Angus Witherby from Moree has requested to be the contact now for the waste to energy bit. Guarda Shire has not yet submitted to Russell Stewart, RDANI, the list of skills in demand in the Shire. Russell also commented that the Building Better Regions Fund is probably oversubscribed and is highly competitive. The COVID thing had a few minutes. The chair commented on how well the e-gates are working for ag, that is the fuel and that transport across the border. Gundawindi commented that the Cross-Border Commissioner works hard and that there is no need to reinvent the wheel with regard to border crossings. The police were excellent, and Ag Force, which is the Queensland equivalent to our whatever down here, seem to be happy with the arrangement as it is now, but the cost of the e-gates has blown out unbelievably, they said. And we had Stephanie Hogan from the Department of Water and Infrastructure of Queensland presenting via Zoom. A couple of comments from her were that there's a $3 million water study for Southern Downs and Darling Downs Council. Queensland has set up a Bradfield panel to look at the feasibility of the scheme. And there's a loose water alliance between Southern Queensland and Northern New South Wales, 5 Queensland councils and 1 New South Wales, which is Tenterfield, and they are going to establish a company limited by guarantee. Don't know, that was Peter was talking about that. And then we had, after lunch, we had the Murray-Darling Association Regional Lebanon Ordinary Meeting, which was held on the same day at the Inverell Shire. And Emma Bradbury presented. She talked about the 4 applications across the footprint, the MDA footprint for that program, spoke on the floodplain harvesting rules in the Guarda water sharing plans. And there's an email circulating now if you know anybody that's in that area and uses floodplain harvesting, if they want to comment, now is the time. There's a regional boundary review happening for some of the larger regions in the MDA, and Region 11 is one of them. That's the region we're in. They're talking at, say, Region 11A and Region 11B, so it won't divide, but it'll eliminate a lot of the travelling. Some of the comments this is in the MDA, so the basin, inflows are reduced by 50%. They're targeting 2038 to increase primary production. I don't know how, 2038. 170 councils across the basin. There's always 170 councils across the basin. CSIRO has partnered with MDA in a lot of projects now, so they're becoming a major partner working with MDA. They have an education and leadership program if anybody would like to do it. It's only an online thing. Just a couple of little notes I took. Annual yield was 1,989 gigalitres on a long-term average. The entitlement holders for that MDA thing are 2,878 gigalitres. So talk about oversubscribed. The annual conference will be in Wentworth, 16th and 19th of May 2020, and the motions are due by 12th of April if we have any. We have to do an annual report, 200-word reflection on the area. Gunnedah Shire were going to bid for the 2022 MDA conference, but have since withdrawn their expression of interest due to, some sort of commercial in conflict, commercial in whatever it was, reason. The fees will remain the same, 1 July to 30th of June 2022, which is 30.5 cents, so it's 30.5 cents per head of population. And the CEO, Emma Bradbury, she's been there for the whole time I've been there, so that's probably 7 years, is standing down after the AGM this year. And she's a mighty fine CEO, and she's really done some hard work for the MDA, so... Sorry.
Thanks, Matt. So I've got a question. The floodplain harvesting has been coming up on the computer all the time. and I guess it's open to the public to make comment. I I didn't think there was any need for a comment from this Shire.
I didn't either.
No, okay.
But you might know somebody that's out there and encourage them to do it.
Yeah, I just meant land within our Shire would be unaffected by it.
I think so too, but the Guida, goes further than us.
Oh yeah, it's a big
so-
problem on the flat country.
Yeah.
They need to be able to do it.
Yeah,
Yes,
and it will go into those water sharing plans, and that proposed dam on the Graves, out our way,
Right.
that will also be talked about at some stage, but people are saying it probably won't get up. But there's nobody said anything about that one way or the other.
It won't happen.
It has to be paid for by the irrigators,
Yeah.
and they don't want to pay the extra money for the water. When they've got all the on-farm storage, they don't. Yeah, they can store it on farm. They don't need another shallow dam. That's the word. I went to a couple of meetings with the irrigators.
Out there, so
Thank you, Francis. Is there anything else that you have?
Do you want to move a motion acknowledging Emma's?
yes, that would be good.
That
I
would
think
be
she's
good,
been
I
excellent.
I
Yeah,
agree with you. She is very, very good.
she is, isn't she? So to Emma Bradbury, CEO.
Need a seconder to support that.
Yeah.
Councillor Egan.
Thank you, Catherine. Yeah. I think, and if it's all right, I'd like to go to the MDA conference
That Wentworth?
in May. It is.
Yeah, of course it's all right. I've got a move in a second that we commend Emma Bradbury for her service.
Yeah.
I'll put the motion. Those in favour say aye.
Aye.
So carried. Thank you. Councillor Colton? Dominic?
No, I've got one comment and a query, which I'd rather leave till
Okay.
confidential.
Yeah.
Didn't you want a letter of support for Rocky Ned?
Rocky Ned.
The Rocky.
Oh, Rocky Ned, sorry, thank you, Max. Yes, I had a request from Bingra Lions requesting a letter of support for their Rocky Ned project there. It's to go to Barnaby, I think, to try and get funding for they want to put a statue of Rocky Ned, who was bred in Bingra, claimed by Gravesend, but bred in Bingra apparently.
The horse.
The horse.
He's a buck jumper.
Okay.
He's a buck jumper.
He's not a
I'll
person.
organise it.
So they just.
They're going to see him on Monday, is that right?
Yeah.
Pardon?
Are they going to see
I think they're going to see him on Monday or Tuesday next
No, we
week.
need the letter product.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Dave. Anything else? You finished?
That's it.
Yeah, Councillor Egan?
Can I go in with the report to the Murray-Darling? The river, are we doing anything, or are they doing anything about cleaning up the rivers?
Right.
I think it's got to become a total picture for New South Wales that we clean our tributaries. It's just bad down there. It's getting worse and worse, but every time it rains, we're getting a different look about our river.
What are you specifically?
Yeah, what do you
mean?
Do you mean the algae and all that sort of stuff? or in the
I mean
actual
that
banks?
we're allowing
Woody weed growth in the street.
they're not indigenous trees, they're English trees. On our riverbanks, there's privet, there's willow, there's every sort of tree that's not meant to be on an Australian river. And they're sloping up the water before it gets down there. If they clean the rivers, we'd probably have a much better rundown.
Actually, we've been trying to take out those two that are actually in the river. And I noticed yesterday that the tree had shed a lot of seeds. Was in the river. So
Just creating.
and so that's just going to be floating down. There's going to be more and more willows.
Further.
We're waiting on those trees. We're just waiting for the water level to go down so we can get the excavator in. But the approval process to do anything in the waterways is just ridiculously hard.
Can it not be brought to the government's attention that the non-native species are becoming much more prevalent in our waters courses than
So where would you like this to go? New South Wales State Water, is it?
probably.
You want
I
to
think
formulate something? Or?
Yes, please, Max, whatever you decide.
Okay.
A comment in relation to that, probably worth talking to Tamworth Regional, because they had the similar problem in the Peel River, where because of the low flows.
That was willow, was it?
No, it wasn't. It was just they were.
Everything.
I can't remember what the breeder tree was, but they just blocked up that whole waterway there in the town, and I think
Chinese elm.
I think they were
Chinese
getting permission
elm, privet.
to clean them out of it. So
Yeah.
probably worth talking to them to see what.
I don't think we need a resolution, but I'll certainly follow it up and write a letter.
Yeah.
Everywhere else done the same thing. You go down Ring Street, they've taken all the trees out of the river.
I'd support that, Max. I think that's, yeah.
Right.
Have we, no. How big do we let a pothole get before we fill it? This is to Alex. Is there a determination? Because there's a very small one in the bitumen in Maitland Street down my end. It's only this big. Do we deal with it at that size, or do we wait till it gets bigger?
There's no defined intervention
So now you've got
point.
to dig it out and put it in a packet and all the rest.
Yeah, it's simply, firstly being made aware of them, which you've just done now.
There's a couple down there.
Actually, there is, under our service level agreement, there is defined sizes of potholes and how quickly we'll actually
We'll
attend to them.
attend to them.
I just thought while they were small, you'd
There's
deal
a few
with it.
though around.
I did see somewhere where someone
more-
planted a tree in a
more after all
pothole.
this
Wasn't in
rain.
our shire. Thought that was pretty
Street
innovative.
jet
up there.
patcher.
Yes, bad.
I'll arrange for the jet patcher to spend some time in town.
With L Street too.
Sorry?
I'll arrange for the jet patcher to spend
Well,
some
just
time in
have a
town.
look. I just thought, well, it's
Yeah.
little, it might be
Yep.
more cost benefit.
I'm really disappointed because I expected Alex to promptly
that-
say, I'll look into it.
He's not going to say
All
that
right,
anymore.
we've got to keep.
And I'd just like to say that Australia Day was particularly well done, and that we observed all the COVID things, and that, well, I don't know whether from the council or from our committee, that we thank John Wern for being our ambassador. He did an amazing job and was
Come
very
from-
well received.
Come from your committee, I think.
Okay,
He was
I've got
excellent.
that today then. Thank you.
Well, that leaves it to me. I have to do, we'll be doing a mayoral column either tonight or tomorrow. I'd ask for anyone, some input from anybody, if you'd let something that needs attention I need to address. One thing that disturbed me, and I know I shouldn't worry about this, but there was a comment on Facebook that we do nothing for the villagers. I would like to address that in the
Yeah,
mayoral
I
column.
think that's a good idea.
Max, if you could give me some rough figures, please, of what we've spent on the villages.
Yeah, actually, quite easily I can show that the amount of money that we receive from the villages goes nowhere near paying for the amount of service that we provide to those villages.
It was an idiotic comment, I know, but it does get up your nose.
It does when you think you're working hard
Yeah.
and trying
I
to
think
do
if you go
that.
out to a lot of these villages, I know I'm talking about Coolerty and
Yeah.
Copper Creek, mate, and North Star. They're not saying that.
No.
No, it's the
I don't know
agitators.
about Upper Horton, but
No,
I don't think they are down
I
there.
don't think they say
Upper Horton have had a
anything.
lot of money spent.
Well, I saw Tracy Kelly this week and she had no grievances.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I think Graham, I've got any problems?
Yeah, some more.
Just say something about the outline, particularly Coolerty area. In the Australia Day Awards, nearly all the awards went to Coolerty way.
Yeah, they did, yeah.
The fair wing of people. isn't there?
Look, Rod King's asked for a mayoral column, and of course, so has Kim, so I'll try and, but I've got a bit on too, but I would appreciate input from everyone, please. Pardon me. Yes, Leon?
I've just received an email from Councillor Galvin, and she's asked me if I would bring these things up. Is that all right?
Yeah, quickly.
Yep, okay. It's grazing on the Guida. The Guida Shire received a $10,000 grant in the Summer Fund Activation Grant round to boost the businesses in the main street. Bingara and Warrialda are sharing this, $5,000 each. The Bingara Warrialda is putting theirs towards the Honey Festival. The Bingara Business Group has decided to put Guida on display, which will hold a market on Saturday, 24th of April in the main street. We're putting the money towards road closures, local entertainment, including the Guida Band, local line dancers, along with musicians, etc., advertising and other costs. They've had lots of positive feedback. We're planning on making it a full weekend, and hopefully with the opening of the art gallery on the Friday night. I haven't spoken to that yet because I haven't confirmed it, but I'm hoping that will happen. Our day on Saturday, followed by Anzac Day on Sunday. She says she would like to grow it in future years, and hopefully next year we can hold this on the river. And that's it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Earlier this week, both Councillor Young and I are board members of the Carbon Farm, and we had a meeting to talk about a recent grant that the Carbon Farm has been given, $75,000. The applicant for that grant was Starfish Enterprises, but Starfish Enterprises are in a lot of trouble because of COVID. Their income stream is virtually dried up completely, and they may even partway through this grant timetable not exist. So we're looking at the possibility of having some other body just act as the intermediary to facilitate the grant. That is, get the money, do the acquittal process, etc. I volunteered the council for that process. It doesn't involve the council doing anything other than being a facilitator for the grant, but it's not definite that will happen. Like, the funding body will have to agree to that, and we still haven't established definitely whether local government can actually receive the grant under that program. But I just thought I'd advise the council that that's what we're looking at doing. The other alternative would be the local land care, and that would be, but I think from the board's point of view, the preferred one would be the council. But that's just to advise the council.
See no harm in that at all.
No.
Thank you.
To finalise what I was going to say, please give me something to put in this report. And thanks, Rod, for coming on. We did ask that you attend meetings to gather information. I'm pleased to see you here. And of course, Kim's regular. But, and with that, we'll break for morning tea. Looking for somebody to move that we go into confidential session.
Yes.
Councillor Regan, Councillor Smith seconded that. Put the motion. Those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against, no, carried.
Just before you do that, can I read something that I found amusing?
The recording's off. Councillor Smith, and you've got the wording, Max. Yep. So we've got to go back on the recording, and you'll do your blur.
One thing, John or Max, all this stuff that we take home, this sort of stuff, how long should we keep it?
Well, Jeff, this sort of stuff is all electronic. You don't really need to keep this. It's just things like the plan we had last meeting. What's it called? Yeah, things like that. But this sort of stuff, it's just, you can get it off your...
Max can get it off in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
If I can't find it, I just go into
Shredder uses it in the trucks this.
Yeah, well...
It mounts up, doesn't it?
Can we leave it on the desk and then the staff take it away again?
I remember seeing your lounge room when I first went
Yeah,
out there.
we can. We can organise the shredding of it if you just leave it or want to drop it in the office.
Some things you have to take, but...
I think I'll dispose of it myself. I'll go to shredder. I'll write notes over it all. I don't really want to.
Yeah, I'm terrible.
So you're right to go.
I'll have to get a shredder.
Here we go, people.
Out of the confidential session, in regards to the confidential organisation and community services report for December 2020 and January 2021, the resolution is that the report be received. For the Warrialda Golf and Bowling Club improvements, the recommendation to council is that the tender received from report be that the tender received from Meter Constructions Warrialda for a total cost of $347,735.58, excluding GST, be accepted. Further, that the council seek from the club further funding up to 50%, possibly by taking out house mortgage, an increase in the house mortgage on the houses owned by the club. They'll need to obviously be tidied up a bit. Yes. The potential biodigester, that the council prepare a capital expenditure review of the proposed biodigester for the consideration of the council and office of local government. Further, the council allocates a budget of $150,000 from the waste fund to undertake the review. Further, the local opportunities for the provision of substrata be investigated, including Bindari beef, as a priority prior to going forward. And the final one was the tender for the supply and delivery of quarry products. The committee recommendation is that council accept the tender of Johnson Concrete and Quarries Proprietary Limited, supplied as a schedule of rates for an estimated total value of $2,794,505, excluding GST. Also, that the two items raised in the confidential session be noted regarding the Warrialda bypass update and the Warrialda truck wash cost and continuing use, and concerns about pressure, water pressure.
So we need a resolution
To adopt those.
to adopt those. So I've got councillor Colton and councillor Young seconding it. I'll put the motion. Those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Against, no. Carried. With that, we'll close the meeting. Thank you very much for your attendance.